Peace and blessings, family. Peace and blessings. This is your brother Sean Ali here, Supreme Health and Wellness by Sean Ali. And as always, family, I thank each and every one of you for tuning in, sharing some of your very valuable time and energy. And as always, I pray that this brief message is received in the spirit that I am striving to deliver it in, which is the spirit of your brother, the spirit of love, and of course, and always, in the spirit and in the name of God. Family, man, this is a fun and exciting topic I want to talk about, right? But first, I pray that these words are finding you in the best of your health, your wellness, your power, your life on purpose, right? But listen, just in case it's not, I pray that one of these brief words that I'm ready to share can help you, right, in achieving your goals. And this is the Daily Health Checkup. And today we want to talk about the process of manifestation, how to create my success. Woo! Right? The process of manifestation, how to create my success. And we all, it's safe to say that we all want to be successful, right? You know, we all want a measure of success, and I think that's ingrained in the human nature to be successful. It's definitely, when we look at biology, it's ingrained in the nature of our cells to be successful. That's why they reproduce and develop to be, and they develop into that success. So when we are looking at success, and I don't mean the general success, whatever your version or your idea of success is for you, that's what we want to help you accomplish, right? Because all of us don't want to be rich. All of us don't want to have the things that other people want. We have our individual desires and goals and ideas of success. That's perfectly okay. That's great, in fact. How to achieve it, when we are looking at that process of manifestation, this involves both the rational and the emotional part of our brain, right? And when we are, the best ways for us to be successful is to first know and understand our anatomy and our physiology. The anatomy is the parts. The physiology is the function of those parts. And knowledge of self has to be rooted in that, because we are made out of particular parts and they have particular functions. And the best way for us to create that success is to live and operate and function within those laws of our anatomy and of our physiology, right? Then we won't be hurting ourselves. We will be controlling ourselves and moving ourselves on purpose, right? So the process of manifestation is a 3-step process, right? So it's a 3-step process, easy step process. And what we are looking at is the thought, emotion, action, right? So we're looking at the thought, the emotion, the action. When we are, and for that, we go to the brain, right? For that, we go to the brain. And when we are looking at this brain, let us understand that this is the control center, right, of this right here. Everything from the neck down is complementary to allowing this to exercise and manifest everything. So when you come up with an idea, this is our accessory. These are our complementary organs to help us bring that idea into reality. Everything that extends off of that spinal column, when we're looking at this spinal column, right? Everything that extends, these nerves, right? These neurons, this nervous system, our central nervous system is simply the brain and the spinal column. Everything that's coming off, all of those nerves that's coming off, those peripheral nerves, that's the nervous system that gives us power over these accessory parts. So when you come up with that idea, it's meant for you to come up with that idea. This is how you bring that idea into reality, man. And that's the combination. This controls this, and this is designed to bring into reality what we produce here. So this is now, let us discuss the process of manifestation. Let us open up the brain. So once we open up the brain, we can see the areas that are responsible for these different actions. So when we are looking at the rational part, that's our frontal lobe, right? We're looking at this frontal lobe area. So in the center, we have what is called the central sulcus. And that is that groove that separates the frontal lobe from the parietal lobe. And everything in the frontal lobe, this is the associated areas. This is our motor function. The central sulcus, it separates the frontal lobe from the parietal lobe. The frontal lobe is our motor skills. This is how we move everything in our body on purpose. The parietal lobe is our sensation. So in its associated areas. So when we are receiving this information, this is the part of the brain that processes it. And I'm just going over that because this is knowledge of self. The emotional part of the brain, it's in this central location. We have what is called, if you can see this indentation right here, right? This is called the Singlet Gyrus. The Singlet Gyrus. And that material is a part of the limbic system. You have the fornix, you have the hypothalamus, the pituitary gland sits off of there, and if we go further in, we will have the hippocampus and the amygdala. Okay, now, process of manifestation. Let us break this down. The thought produced in that rational part, that thinking part of the brain. The emotion, when we move, there is always an emotional attachment to our actions. When we receive information, when that information is coming up that spinal cord, all incoming information is processed through the emotional part for fight or flight. And that's where that self-preservation is coming in at. So the emotional part will decipher it to see if it's good or bad before it's processed anywhere else in the brain. We have to understand this because we really have to control this emotional part of us, rising above emotions into thinking, because this is where that process of manifestation will either have its success or its failure. Because we produce the thought. The thought, I want to eat right. Right? Many of us want to do that. I want to eat right. That's the thought. Now, that thought, when we're looking at the Singlet Gyrus, right? This part of the brain, that part of the emotional brain, it has some serious responsibilities. And one of these responsibilities is it processes the cognitive and emotion. It coordinates the cognitive and emotional actions. So in the brain, like I said, every action that we do has an emotional attachment. The Singlet Gyrus, one of its responsibilities is the coordination between the cognitive and the emotional part of the brain, right? And if we don't understand this, and if we don't know this, this is where that imbalance is created cause from, right? Because we have, all of us almost have been emotionally damaged, especially though black people born of slavery here in America. We know because we've been stripped, robbed, beaten, stolen, raped, kidnapped. All of those laws have been broken against us, right? So our emotional health, we already know it's damaged. So it is imperative, particularly for us, to understand this knowledge of self and how the brain works so that we can control ourself, that we can control our happiness, our success, and we can create our heaven and set ourselves in it. See, the Nation of Islam, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, they teach us that heaven and hell are conditions of the mind. Well, when we are looking a part of we understand there's different parts of the brain, the thinking and the emotional, right? The emotion, that coordination happens in the Singlet Gyrus. One of its duties, main duties, is to coordinate. So when we are looking at the process of manifestation, I produce that thought, I want to eat right. Now, how the gas part, how do I feel about that? If I don't feel like eating right, I won't have no coordination. If I don't feel, if you don't feel it, right? If you don't feel that thought, then you won't do it. That's the action. The action you won't do it. Now, when we are looking at the brain and that emotional part, in here we have something called the VTA, the ventral tegmental area. The ventral tegmental area. We hear about the brain reward system, right? This is covering the brain reward system, the ventral tegmental area. This is where dopamine is produced, right? So dopamine is produced in the emotional part, then it is circulated. If you can see now on here, this red is representing an artery, right? But it almost mimics the path of how dopamine is circulated through the brain. So that ventral tegmental area is around here. That dopamine is spread, right? And once it's spread through the emotional part, it enters that frontal lobe to be dispersed through the rational part. They say this is the basis for addiction, because what produces dopamine are the things we like. What produces dopamine are the things that we like to do, right? So if I want to eat right, but I don't feel it, see, I'm not going to produce no dopamine. I'm not going to produce no pleasure from it. So my brain, that emotional part, it won't coordinate my thought with the action. Now you have that discoordination, that disconnect, because the thought is I want to eat right, but I don't feel it. So my action is I won't do it. That's how the brain works. But now on the flip side, I want to eat right. The emotional part, I do feel it. See, I do feel it. Now I'm going to be producing dopamine, and that dopamine will start from that ventral tegmental area, and it will be circulated to my frontal lobe, to the thinking part. Now my body will be motivated, inspired to do it. So I produce the thought, I want to eat right. I produce the emotion, I do feel that thought. So now when it comes to the action, I will do it. Woo, man, listen. I will do it. I will do it. And in this is the cerebellum, right? When you're looking at the cerebellum, this is where learned muscle movement happens. It's also called like the second brain. Okay, for instance, you learn how to ride a bike at 6, 7 years old, right? But you don't ride a bike no more for like the next 10, 15 years. But once you get on that bike again, you learn that memory of it, that muscle memory is there, and you can ride the bike, even though you haven't ridden it in 10, 15 years. That's right here. This is that part of the brain that controls that. So now, why am I saying this? Because once we learn the process of manifestation and we physically do it, we create learned behavior. We create learned muscle movement. And with that, we create muscle memory. So you will create the muscle memory of your success. You will create the muscle memory of your happiness. You will create muscle memory of your heaven. So now it will be easy. Listen, it will be easy for you to be successful. It will be easy for you to be happy. It will be easy for you to set yourself in heaven at once. Man, and this is not with any external aid, because we are designed to be everything in us internally we already have. We have the key to life, the heartbeat and breathing. All of these accessory elements, they are designed for you to use them to be successful, happy, strong, to set yourself in heaven at once, or hell. Unfortunately, many of us are masters at creating hell for ourselves. We are masters at creating turmoil and drama for ourselves. Let us now practice and exercise and become masters at creating happiness and love in heaven for ourselves, right? So this is that we have now what I'm discussing in a general sense. We have the science in a larger sense. So volume 1, the science of thought and the art of thinking, a manual for rising above emotions, right? Volume 2, the God Factory, your brain, neuroscience for the mind of God in you. And in here, we go through the processes that I just discussed. So you will learn the brain. This is not a novel. You will learn the parts of the brain, how it works, right? So once you understand that, what can happen? You can use this. Use it to do what? Use it to create your success, your heaven, your happiness, your life. That's the point. That's the goal. That is why God gave us this. That's why he gave us this brain. That's why he gave us this brain. It's up to us to use it. Knowledge is power. Knowledge of self is the key to the ultimate power. Because with that, you can't be tricked by an interpretation, right? So family, listen, if you have any questions or want to go further, please feel free to contact us. Supreme Health and Wellness by Sean Ali, right? Get your books, get your science, get your information, because we are in that time where there is a universal change. Look at America and the world. The rules are being rewritten, right? The laws are being rewritten. The laws of society are being rewritten. So now we can either sit back and wait for other people to write rules for us, or we can take charge of our posts and we can write our own rules. Man. So family, listen, Carpe diem. Go seize your day. Go conquer your day. Go create your heaven and set yourself in it at once. That is all up to you. I leave you in the words of peace, the spirit of peace and love. I say, Namaste Hotep. Power to the people. Salam alaikum. Peace.